I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
And it's the busiest month of the year.
Christmas?
Starting in July. Well, this is end of June.
It's Christmas. July.
Actually, okay, so the busiest month of the years, if you are a parent or a teacher, is May. For sure. Nothing is worse than May because of all the programs and stuff. December is really close. It's May, December.
I'll tell you, in our family, it is hands down December because we have approximately 700 birthdays all in the same month.
Well, that's a very specific thing.
That's us.
Right.
Yes.
I guess that also works for me in May because that's my anniversary. And,
that's why May feels.
No, it's not just that. It's the teacher thing. It's because all those end-of-year programs, but they also do them in December. But they're the two things, and they end at graduation.
Yeah.
But for the Dice Tower, it's July. Because so much stuff is happening in July. We got the Dice Tower East happening. Well, it starts in a week and 2 days, but for us it starts today, actually. We got a lot of stuff to do today. We're tearing the library down today. There's a lot of things going on. But then we have the Summer Spectacular happening 2 weeks from... Not 2 weeks from today. 3 weeks from today.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah,
3 weeks from today.
Every other week we have something.
And then we got Gen Con around the corner. So a couple things about those. Dice Tower East, yada yada. We can't wait to see you there. If you want to know more about that, check out our Facebook group. Gen Con, we're doing a live top 10 list there. Subject to be determined. And you can come to that. There's a... you can go sign up for that event online. We'd love to see you at Gen Con. We're also going to have a booth there. You can come by and see us at the booth, and I'm sure we'll talk more about that. Summer Spectacular is something that's exciting because, again, like I said, 3 weeks. We got lots of cool games. I have the list of games that we're going to be playing through. The Dice Tower Award winners will be announced. We have a video of announcements, exclusive announcements from different companies that will be there that are announcing things. It's going to be a great time, but
we're busy.
Yes, so we're busy getting ready for all that. But we'll take a break from our business to say thank you to Pandasaurus Games. Pandasaurus, of course, has a lot of fantastic games, and they help sponsor this episode, so check out their stuff. And, man, we could go through a lot of games. Today I decided I'd put up Sonara, because we haven't mentioned that one in a while. And I like that this one
a lot.
This one has grown on me.
It's rolling right crocodile.
Yeah. Yeah, you're flicking to land in different spots so that you can then write down on a fairly... It's one of the more complex ones. Not complex, I guess. There's a lot of options.
It's 4 mini games that are all driven how you play them by the flicking part. So it's like 5 mini games in one.
But you also unlock wilds for other sections when you're on a single section.
It's combolicious.
Yeah,
for sure.
I really like Sonora.
And it's that's a good top 10 combolicious games.
Also, I'm terrible at dexterity games, and I can still beat Chris on this, which I appreciate.
I am going to actually write that down because...
That's actually a good one.
Yeah.
So anyhow, check them out. Check out Sonara. It's going to be at the Dice Tower East Library. In fact, when we're done with this recording Board Game Breakfast, I need to put it back in the library because
let's do that.
The shelves are closed. The library is finished. The hot game list will be published today. There's stuff coming.
Ooh.
I will show up with a ruler and slap your hand if you take a game off one of my shelves.
Yeah. Well, there's that. But all kinds of things.
There also, gauntlets.
There might be some construction noises possibly during this. I think the worst is over, but we are they are working here at our house. We're getting, the shed has arrived. Which I don't know if we posted. Did we post a picture of that online?
Oh, we didn't.
I don't think we did.
So now that the shed is here, we're getting ready to refurbish the garage so that we can turn that into the second studio. So that when we have the second studio, we can then bring someone in to set up our microphones.
And we picked July because it was the quietest month to work on all of this.
And the coolest month.
And the coolest, yeah.
It's a win-win. No, we just had to get these things done in order, and so it took a while. We had to buy the shed.
We had to get
permits. We had to build the shed. We had to get permits. We have inspectors, electric. But the shed is here. And so lots of cool things. So that's that. Let's get started. We'll be back soon.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And
and Stella here from Maple University.
Today we've got this classic game here, Splendor. It's now 8 years old. And I was looking at it and it got me thinking how important components can be. I look at this and I wonder, would it be the success in the game it was with cardboard gems or those little crystals that you see a lot these days, instead of the poker chips that it came with?
I think there's a company that uses poker chip on almost, if it's not all of their games, chip theory games, because it's called chip theory games. And their games, I think all of them are popular. I think it's kind of like their trademark and also in their name.
It's a big tactile element, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you would be able to shrink this. You could do this whole game as a card game if you wanted to. You could use resource cards like in Catan. You've got a hand limit to sort of make sense, like with the chips. But somewhere out there, there's a marketing person who said if we release this game with chips instead of cardboard chits or instead of cards, this will do better. And it wouldn't surprise me if that person has doubled the sales of this game at least.
Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Let us know if you like a game because it's such tactile feeling with the poker chips. What games you like, or do you agree with Taryn here? And that is it. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you next time.
Hey, it's Oliver, and I recently got to go to Origins Game Fair, and it was super fun. I made a lot of cool connections with a lot of cool people, and I even got to help out Stephen Bonacore, which is a really cool experience. But today, let's talk about my favorite board gaming experience at Origins. And the game I played was Dice Throne. This was a very close game, let me tell you. So, it was towards the end of the game. The guy was at 26 health. I was at 3 health, so he was just pretty much one swing away from killing me. I was playing Paladin, or he was playing Paladin, I was playing Monk. And there's this ability called, the ultimate ability, where you roll 5 6s. And I did that twice in a row. So, the first turn I did it, just like re-rolled a few times, got it, 10 health, so he was at 16. Then I did it again while flipping over dice with my cards. And then I used my chi, which is with the monk, and I got him to 0 health. But he has this ability where he can just come back from the dead with 1 HP. But it was pretty easy to defeat him after that. So that was the most suspenseful thing ever, let me tell you. That was why Origins was so fun. I got to have so many cool experiences. Alright guys, you have a good breakfast. Bye.
So 25 years ago, I was in college and I was in the middle of my collectible card game phase. Which was we were buying cards, and it was very fascinating. And I moved from collectible card games to Warhammer 40K.
To save money.
No, I don't know. I remember distinctly one of my friends was like, Sam and another friend were like, play 40K, and I was like, I'm not interested in this. I don't want to paint. I don't want to build miniatures. I still don't. And then I played a game, and I was like, ooh, there's so much strategy. And the idea of building your army, not physical building, but building an army on paper, I still like that to this day. Because you sit there with points, and you're like, I'll get myself this gun and this. I love that. And so I was at the Warhammer shop all the time, playing stuff. And I remember the first time a guy came in with a box of Mage Knight, not the board game, this is way back, the original Mage Knight, which was collectible miniatures, and it blew my mind. I was like, and they were pre-painted. I was like, are you kidding me? But I played the game a little bit. It was fine. It's a decent game. I played it more when I went to Korea, but I never really got into it, fantasy. And then they announced the sequel to Mage Knight, which was HeroClix, which is what we're talking about today, which came out 20 years ago. And that got me much more excited because superheroes are superheroes, Now,
You tend to like those, I noticed.
A little bit.
The 2 reasons I didn't stick with HeroClix, and I should note that today there's HeroClix 2.0, which is the current WizKids thing. 2 reasons I didn't stay with it, because the collectability thing does wear on you, for me. Now, to be fair, with HeroClix, you can get pretty much any hero in existence at this point on the singles market. Maybe not the best one, but they're out there. And HeroClix did Marvel, DC, all kinds of different characters. You can get anything and everything. You know, if there's a Marvel character, HeroClix has done it at least twice, probably. And there was even horror, and there was all kinds of stuff that's been thrown into the mix. But the main reason I've gotten away from it is there's two reasons. The more minor one is it bugs me a little bit about superpowers in a board game. I don't know how to. Superpowers are three-dimensional. And in HeroClix, they're a little three-dimensional, but they're mostly two-dimensional. You can fly and stuff in HeroClix, but it's still, and you can buy 3D terrain, but it's still, you can't make an ice chute that you then slide. You know, I mean, it's.
You can't do all the cool stuff.
But that's just how it is. That's the same way in video games and things like that.
Sure.
But the bigger reason is because in HeroClix, they have the click dials. And when you click on a dial, each number will have a color, and that color then is tied to a special ability. And I just got tired of looking at those special abilities. Now, I know people like Roy had them all memorized. All right?
Roy's in the back, literally peeking out.
Roy wants to be on this review.
But with the exception of Roy, another reason I don't play HeroClix any longer is because I found it to be the worst community of any gaming group I've ever found. Now,
Did you
maybe
find
that
it to
might
be cliquish?
Maybe that might be. No. Maybe that might be just where I was at. But I found them to be more annoying than Warhammer and Magic players as a group.
Was there just a bunch of Tom Vassals, and you're like, I'm done with this?
So none of them were like Roy Canada, is what you're saying?
I'm not including Roy Canada. He wasn't there at the time. But I had to go over and say, guys, tone it down. You know, like tone down the language that you're screaming here in the store. I just found that to be, and that will turn me off from a game, any gaming group really. So that might not be fair, and everyone watching might say, well, HeroClix is fantastic in my area. But it's a collectible game, so a lot of people aren't that interested in it. But it is a very influential game, and it is also a game that has kept some stores in business. When I went to Gamma, I would talk to stores and say, so what's doing, you know, when I talk to a store and they're like, what's your thing?
Yeah.
Most of the time it's Magic.
Yes.
Right.
For some people it was X-Wing.
Yeah,
You know?
that's
but
true.
For a few stores it was HeroClix. Or versions of that. So,
I like this game in theory. Like, there's too few games out there that really have the license for Marvel and DC to really just take Shazam
mash them together.
versus Captain America and Iron Man, and then all of a sudden Batwoman comes in. Like, what I've heard Roy talk about his like exciting game where he's like, oh yeah, I know a lot of like comic book characters from HeroClix. I have a lot of affinity for like Shazam from HeroClix. Like, I think that's cool. That's awesome. But I don't really tend to love like tactical skirmish games. They're not really my style, and I really don't like collectible games. So unfortunately, I wish that there was something else where like.
I guess you could argue
kind of
that
mix
with
those.
Marvel HeroClix you could just go online and buy a huge lot of the game.
At this point, yeah.
Sure.
You can. I mean, you can. Yeah, there's very expensive stuff out there, but there's also tons. And it's one of those games I think that if I'm not serious, so it's like Magic. You give me a whole bucket of commons, and I'd be like, yeah, let's play.
Sure.
I don't care. I mean, if it's Captain America, but that's not the best Captain America, but it's still Captain America.
You're not
I
like
can
trying
play
to
with
win
him.
tournaments with
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
So, HeroClix, that 20 years. It's still weird to think 20 years. We're getting old, everybody. We're getting old.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, we are Ryan and Bethany.
From Ryan Bethany Board Game Reviews.
Today we're talking about the game called Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, Pizza. So how you play this game is basically, there's this deck of cards, and on them are the cards like Taco, Cat, Goat, Cheese, and Pizza. There's also silly stuff like narwhals and groundhogs and gorillas, right, all mixed in. So whenever on your turn, you're going to play a card. You're going to say the word taco, and the next person in line is going to play their card, and they're going to say cat. You're going to keep on going on the table saying taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza. Taco, cat, goat, cheese, pizza. Until eventually, whatever someone's card that they played matches the word they just said, and then it's a mad dash to slap the deck of cards, right? And the last person to slap the deck of cards is going to have to take those cards. The goal is to get rid of all your cards as soon as possible. There's tons of hilarity in this game, lots of silliness. The special cards like the narwhal, you have to quick, make a unicorn, horn on your head and then slap the deck or whatever it is. So So there's just lots and lots of silliness in this game.
So when anybody says narwhal, do you think in your head, I hope you find your dad, buddy? I just like, it's that always, every single time you said narwhal, that's what I'm hearing. Hope you find your dad, buddy. Anyway, this was a quick, silly, fun game, right? I mean, it just was really silly and fast to play, and it was funny. It's always funny when people are slapping and just like ridiculous stuff happens. This was a ridiculous game in the silliness of it.
Yeah, this is not a game that we would normally be drawn to, but at the same time, if you start the game off with this, a game night off with this, there's going to be tons of laughter. There's going to be tons of silliness. Everyone's going to be involved.
Or end a game night.
Yeah, everyone's like silly tired.
Yes, yes, that's what you want to do. You want to end it with this.
If you're a heavy strategy player, this is not going to be your jam. We know that, but at the same time, if you're playing with some a little more casual gamers, or you want, like I said, want to open it up a game night or a family night with something, this is a great opportunity to laugh a whole bunch.
Well, if you guys want to hear more from us, make sure to find us on YouTube. We are Ryan and Bethany at Board Game Reviews. You can always find us in all of these places as well. Everybody, this is Ryan and Bethany. Hoping you have a happy, healthy breakfast.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Hello, Prodi here, your Romanian content creator, and today I will continue my series where I will talk about a specific part of a game, and today we will talk about founders of Teotihuacan, I think. In Founders of Teotihuacan, you are building your city with polyomino shapes, and you are getting them from the main board by making different actions. And you have a main board where you can place discs, and depending on how high that disc stack is after you're placing a disc, you get a specific, let's say, building. You have production buildings which are giving you different resources. Then you have temples which you have to pay resources to build in your city. So you have, everybody has his own player board, and there he's putting the different shaped buildings, and you are trying to cover masks so that you get bonus points, and you're getting from temples different cards that you can or tiles that you can activate to get points, and you are able to put your stack or one disc on a spot and either make the building action above or the, let's say, the manuscript action, I don't know exactly how it's called, and then you have some different actions that you can do. And what's interesting is in the places where you can put the stacks are those tokens here. And this is what I wanted to discuss, because the first one who's placing a disc on that specific space is getting the bonus. And the bonus that I really like, and I think you can really strategize around it, it's easy, it's giving you a point, but it's giving you one step higher of that specific disc. And then you know exactly if that bonus is in that area, you know that if you are placing it first, you have a height of 3 discs if you're playing just 1 disc, because this disc is considered 1 disc too. So it's really interesting how you can work around it and use this bonus in a really strategic way. This is what I wanted to discuss about Founders of Teotihuacan. Have a nice breakfast.
All right. Actually, the dates on that bumper were incorrect. I'm going to talk about... Oh, no, that was Mike committed. Because... Not that it's an incorrect, but it's not enough. I'm going to talk about stuff that's coming out in the next 2 weeks.
I think what you're trying to say is you get not 1 week worth of productions, you get 2 weeks worth of productions.
Yeah, because there's no live shows next week because we're going to be at Dice Tower East, so there'll be no breakfast. However, I didn't want there to be no content. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be weeks this year where there is no content. I just didn't want next week to be one of those. So, this week, so today, Z's doing Santorini What's Happening at 10 a.m.
Oh, they have an app for that. Is that new?
I don't know.
It's happening now.
All right.
Chris is doing the Q&A at noon. And then at 3 o'clock, me and Eric are doing At the Table with Elizabeth Hargrave, who's known for something or other. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., we're doing a live play of a new game from Buffalo called Plant It. And then, man, there's a lot of stuff coming. So Amanda is going to show us how to make glass tokens this week.
I'm really interested in that because she brought some by for our copy of Golem.
Right.
Yeah, and so...
I actually was kind of thinking, can we just glass token everything? That seems like a lot of work, though.
Ask her to glass token everything for Marvel United, Tom.
Okay, Chris is trying to segue here, but yes. Over the
No,
next...
I'm just saying there's an inordinate amount of tokens in that game.
No, I got the plastic tokens. Okay, so X-Men United, if you watched the unboxing last week, it came in, and I played it to death last weekend so that I could review everything. So over this week and next week, and it's going to start near the end of this week, and then continue all through next week, even to the Monday of the following week, I reviewed all the 9 expansions for X-Men United, and I've ranked all the heroes and all the villains, and I've talked so much about X-Men United, I do not wish to speak about it for several days.
Would you like to play X-Men United
I would
with
not right now. Actually, I would. It's pretty cool.
me? We played the Sentinels.
It's such a good... Did you win?
We did.
Yeah.
Ooh. Because I was doing fine until Nimrod showed up, and he was just like, goodbye.
Oh, he's rough. We were playing with Wolverine, who heals.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, and also the Sentinels are painted, and they'll be at Dice Tower East, so that's exciting. We're also, over the next few weeks, posting our playthroughs from our 24-hour marathon singly, so you'll see those go up. What else is coming this week besides X-Men United? Oliver's reviewing Azul Queen's Garden, and I'm showing you how I upgraded Root.
Are we doing a Foursquare?
Oh, I'm also reviewing Eternal Palace. There may be a Foursquare this week. We are planning to do one. You will see if it happens near the end of the week. But we should have one that would go up Sunday. Then next week, since we're not here, we're doing some different stuff. So Chris is doing a series called, and Chris and Mike are doing a series called Best in Theme. What does that mean?
Mike is doing one?
Well, yes, they're in his color, so I'm assuming he's just copying you.
Oh, I have no idea. Okay, so yeah, so best.
Okay, so what are you doing?
So Best in Theme is it's a limited series, one season only, where a little whiles ago we did our top 10 themes in board games, and someone said it'd be nice to see lists of games in those themes. So I just kind of went through. There's not 10 in every category. There's not, in my opinion, 10 great Batman games that I've played at least. So it's just kind of going through what are games I think really exhibit that theme really well. So that'll be fun to do.
Wait, Best in Theme War/Batman?
Yeah, so I did two different themes per video. So like wartime historical was one of my themes. Historical games that aren't necessarily war games.
And Batman in the same video.
Yeah, of course.
I need to see
Why
this.
not?
Yeah.
I also have several top 10s, solo top 10s going up, including train games, tableau building. I only have a top 9 of Disney games going up, although they just released that Thunder Mountain one. I haven't played it.
Oh yeah.
But also our Target didn't have it, so.
Some of these things we recorded a little bit, like we
did.
We recorded stuff ahead of time for the week that we're gone.
Yeah, we did.
So-
In fact, some of the stuff I recorded a month ago.
Top 10 kids games on there?
I don't know.
Is that happening?
Oh, I'll put that up. Yeah.
Okay. That I recorded like 2 months ago.
I also did in the new series that's going to go up every day that week, and then you'll see that about every other week for a while, or maybe once a month, I don't know yet, called Kickstarter Look Back, where I take a look at Kickstarters that I've backed and see if I've got them, what I think of them as they came out, things like that.
I could do that in a 5-minute video.
Well, there is
There's like
that.
3
Well,
weeks.
you could take a look at Kickstarters that launched during a specific time.
I guess.
That's
yeah.
fair. That's fair. Even if you didn't back them.
Yeah, well, either way, there's a lot of stuff coming. You'll barely notice we're gone. The only way you'll let us know that we're gone is that there's no live things next week. But there is live stuff this week. We'll see you then, but we're not done with this show yet. Let's keep going.
Assalamu alaikum. The Initiative is a unique code-breaking game in which you will be having that Wheel of Fortune-like windows. You will be solving puzzles, getting clues to open those Wheel of Fortune windows. Once you have enough of those clues, you can try to solve the puzzle yourself or reveal that what should be the catchphrase or whatever the solution might be. But if you have seen all the content in the game, it has a hefty amount of campaign missions plus post-campaign missions. And if you're looking still for more content, then what they have, Unexpected Games have done is that they have started releasing bonus missions online as well. The online tool works in the same fashion as the physical tool. You click or tap the window once you have revealed that clue, and it will show you what's under that window. Now, having that tool online means that they can keep releasing more and more online content as well, as long as the people have interest, of course, in the game. And if you're looking for those bonus missions, as well as you can access all the previous missions and the post-campaign missions through that online tool as well. So just in case you don't want to use the fiddly plastic bits of the original game tool, which I do like, but in case you don't want to use that, you can use the online tool even for the previous missions as well. But the new missions are only available in the online tool. So to access it, go to Unexpected Games website, go to the initiative section, and you will find a section called Mission Control, or just Google the initiative Mission Control and you will be taken directly to the website where you can access it via a simple website. So it will add more missions to your game. That's it for me. Happy gaming.
Hey there everyone, it's Jen the Board Game Librarian, flipping some pages and pushing some cubes with my segment From the Page to the Table, where I pair books and graphic novels together with board games and chef's kiss. So of course Gareth Hines is not the original writer of Beowulf, kind of condensing this epic poem and epic story down into a pretty readable and pretty short graphic novel. Now I'll admit, a lot of this graphic novel, there were just many pages of just artwork. There wasn't a ton of the story necessarily, but there was. I have no box for this because we don't have it anymore, and it's not technically a board game. It's a character from a board game, and that is Beowulf from Unmatched. So Unmatched is the, again, head-to-head card game and combat game from Restoration Games, and Beowulf is a character from there. So his cool thing is that he starts with rage, and every time he is dealt damage, he gains more rage. He has a maximum of 3 rage, but there's cards in there which allow him to kind of have a bigger punch with his attacks. His sidekick is also Wiglaf, who definitely does not show up in this condensed version here. But it's kind of cool. The board that goes along with that set, at least part of it, is from the Beowulf-esque time. And I think a pretty solid addition to the Unmatched series. In terms of showing you some of the art on here as well, too. The golden drinking horn. So if you're a epic poem, I see what you did there, Restoration. So I think it's kind of a cool addition to the game. This does come with the Red Riding Hood. This was the pair. And yeah, something you might want to check out. That's Beowulf. We'll see you next time, friends.
So next week is a first for us with Dice Tower East because we're running the convention completely internally. Dice Tower West, we help in many ways, and Dice Tower Cruise, I guess we run Dice Tower Cruise.
And you run the retreat.
And the retreat is not as difficult to run.
Yes. It's so much more low stress, yeah.
The retreat is essentially get the library ready and work on registration. There's a few other things.
We don't even do checkouts and stuff.
The cruise, the cruise ship handles a lot of things that I would not normally do, but it's still a lot of work. Don't get me wrong, they're all work. Dice Tower East, though, is a lot of work, and so I thought I'd talk a little bit about what goes into that. And I don't want to get too much behind-the-scenes stuff. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that's there. But as we're prepping this week, so I'm not recording any videos this week except for live stuff, because I spent a lot of time last week mostly talking about X-Men United, till I blew in the face about it. So what we're doing this week, so there's a couple main facets to a convention, at least our convention. One of them is the library. So that's me and Wendy. We're working on the library. The library we've been working on since, I can't remember, the cruise, really. It's been full time. Yeah. Even before the cruise, but since the cruise, fixing the library, getting it ready, adding new games to the library, subtracting some games from the library. The library is 26 shelves plus half a shelf for expansions, plus another whole section of card games. But that's still...
Plus the kids' 2 shelves.
28 shelves, right, because I forgot about the kids' shelves.
Really, 29 shelves if you count it all.
With expansion.
We're going to round up to 50.
All right, yeah.
Mild leap.
But there's a lot of games. That is, I cannot tell you the amount of work that goes into that, and I understand why so many conventions have poor libraries. Because the amount of work you have to put in to make a library even decent is extensive.
Sure.
And to make it good is even harder than that. Because pieces get lost and things happen to the library. So that is a good chunk of what we're doing to sort out the shelves, to make the shelves ready, to figure out how we're going to transport the games there, which is not a simple task, to put them in the library, which the computer system, which Wendy's doing. We have play mats, and there's just a lot of stuff.
Well, I don't know if you want to mention this or not, but like the term shortage is being thrown around right now in a lot of different industries. And apparently the shortage of stuff affects every single step of what we need to make a convention happen. Trucks. Like, it's not even that easy to... It's...
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right. There's a shortage of trucks. We had a shortage of sometimes packing materials that we need. We definitely had a shortage of getting the tubes that we put the play mats in.
Yeah.
There's the shortages are definitely... And then, of course, shipping and gas and all that stuff affects it. So that's one aspect of it. Another aspect is getting staff there, getting the thing. We have volunteers who are helping put the thing together, but that is a lot of work, and it becomes work because all that stuff has to be coordinated. And then registration itself is a lot of work, and preparing for that, working with publishers to get the publishers there and make the publishers happy. And the scheduling is actually pretty simple for this one because we made the scheduling less extensive.
Less busy.
And yet even then, each event that we're doing requires a lot of work. We're selling off several thousand Dice Tower leftover games there, and the process of getting those games there
Oh my goodness. It's a lot of
is a good chunk of this week, figuring out to do that, how to price them. So we had to have signs built for this thing, and the amount of money that gets poured into a convention. So I'm saying this because recently I was listening to someone talking about how conventions make piles of money, and I'm assuming conventions can make piles of money, but you have to pour a lot of money into conventions. You pay the people who work at the convention. So Sharon runs a convention full-time, Camilla is helping her out a lot, Wendy's working in the library. All those people get paid. I'm also helping, and I occasionally get some money. So that's essentially 4 full-time people working on the convention, and then lots of people also helping in different ways. So that's an expenditure of money. There's expenditure of money, like we mentioned, to get these trucks to take everything to there.
Processing
You usually have to pay the convention center an amount to borrow the convention center. For small ones, sometimes you can get that cut into the price of if you get enough hotel rooms.
Sure.
Sure.
But at ours, at the bigger ones, that's just not possible. You got to rent that out. And then you have to, there's just so many expenses that we just,
I mean,
every day, and Kenny's like, I bought this for the convention. I'm like, got it.
Even name tags, like those name tags add up.
Yeah, so.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
Just everything.
So, you know what? It's going to be what it is. And we're excited about it. And hopefully at the end of the day, it's not a loss for us. I mean, actually, technically, 2022 Dice Tower is a loss because we've spent money on it for 3 years now. And it didn't happen in 2021 and 2020. So it's going to be a loss. But
Yeah, might as well just cancel it then.
no, I already said something to Sharon like earlier this year. I'm like, we're running it. I don't care if 5 people show up. We're running this convention because we canceled it the last couple of years. We're very excited about it, and I'm not as exhausted as I could be. But if you are coming to Dice Tower East, we ask that you give us some mercy because this is the first time we've done all this in the logistics, and we think it will get easier each time we do it. You know, and a lot of stuff that we're doing now, we won't have to do again.
I even think just shipping the library shelves now that we've got a process. You know, we're
trying
changing
it
up the
a
process
third
a
way.
little bit, but I think that like we've got a routine. Like,
Yep, the library shelves are being worked on like the instant this video is over. Me and Wendy are working on that.
I did my stretches this morning. So
Yeah, well.
lift things.
Yeah.
Ugh.
So it's going to be. We're taking pictures of it. Yeah, there's just a lot going on, but I'm happy with the end product. I think we have the best gaming library in the world. It's not the biggest. I'm not claiming that, but I think it's the best, pound for pound.
Best curated.
It is. Yeah, we really curated
It
it.
is very curated.
And I think we have the best group of people coming to a con. Not us, but I mean the fans
I thought it
and
was a
everything.
compliment,
Also
but
us.
you know.
I looked over the names of the lists. on Saturday. And I was like, I like those people.
Excuse me, Santa? Yeah, I need you to run by Deborah McZwisky. Nice list. Got it. Thank you. Tom's got the connections.
Yes! So, but I'm excited about it. If you're not coming to Dice Diaries, we get it. No worries. We have plenty of content coming for you. But if you are coming, come say hi to us. It's going to be a great time.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm here to talk to you about Jaipur and how it's kind of worked out well playing it with a newborn baby in the house. Jaipur is this amazing card game where you're basically trying to collect sets of cards before selling them and taking these hopefully valuable coins of those types. But if you sell them in certain sets of 3 or 4 or 5, you're going to get a bonus token, and hopefully they are sometimes the key to victory. There's camels that allow you to grab more than you should normally from the middle, and sort of a few other ways to interact with this 5-card market in the middle that you'd normally just go back and forth from. It's a great game at 2, but why has it worked so well for us in the last month or so? It's a short game. It's also got 3 distinct rounds because you're basically doing like a best of 3. Well, that means it might be a 25, 30, say 30-minute game, but after 10 minutes, one person has won that round and you can kind of pause and sort of say, right, we'll shuffle the cards and we'll deal them back out later on when we've got another 10 minutes, which has meant it actually allowed us to sort of play over a little bit of time, but we got the game in, and sort of each time we had a little bit of enjoyment of playing that hand and trying to win that round. It's not as fun as just sitting down and playing the whole game of Jaipur in one go, but it's worked quite well because we've not had much gaming time. Anyway, I'd highly recommend Jaipur for 2 players, and it even works if you have a newborn baby in the house. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you if the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're going to look at Disney's Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. The goal of Big Thunder Mountain is to score the most points. You're going to score points by moving your wagon around the board, picking up these ore or gold as you go through, and selling them when you get to town in order to buy victory points or upgrades for your train. Each round, you'll be adding marbles to the board. You add 3 each round, and they will come down and fill a location. Then you can play all or as many cards from your hand as you want. Each one has an icon, either let you move or pick up items, whether there's water there or whether there's not. There are also icons that will allow you to get new cards into your piles, just like a deck builder that will give you more stronger options. When you get to town, you have a choice of either scoring victory points with what you earn, or you can buy town tokens. Town tokens can be turned in either for very powerful upgrades for your train, or you can buy town shares that can be worth victory points at the end of the game. When somebody reaches 20 points, you'll trigger the end of the game. Then whoever has the most points will be the winner. First off, you have to understand this game is not based on the ride. It's not people riding the ride at Disney. You're actually in the theme of the ride. So in the ride, you're on a loose train, you're going through like a gold mine type thing, etc. And you're in that world trying to get gold and ore out of the hills to go to town to be able to upgrade yourself and score points, which I guess is like earning money. And it really does. I mean, I've ridden this ride few hundred times probably. That's probably not an exaggeration, maybe 100, 150 times. And I love looking at the intricate detail on the ride and listening to the sounds when you're riding and kind of what's going on. And of course, the ride isn't going to have the detail that a board game is going to have because you're going to extrapolate more out of it, and that's what they've done here. But this is a fun game, and you do feel like you're mining that gold and that ore, and you're playing the cards out of your hand, and you're running around trying to do that as quickly as possible as you go around that track over and over and over again, just like the ride. This is one of the best family games I've played in a long time. We love the ride. We love the theme. We love everything in this game. And my kids keep asking for it over and over and over again. My littlest one is 4 is like, hey, let's go ride the roller coaster. He's talking about this game. And that's exciting for me. So Funko has knocked it out of the park. I really do feel like the IP and the mechanisms fit together with the theme of the ride.
All right. Well, there is so much. We were just talking during the break here. How much content there is currently to watch. TV-wise. Oh my word! And that doesn't even include movies. Like one of the disadvantages of Dice Diary East is I don't think we're going to see Thor when it comes out.
And Stranger Things is coming out soon too, which I'm probably the most excited about.
No, I'm very excited about that.
Incredibly excited.
Yeah.
Wow, way to claim the throne for yourself, Wendy.
All right, so Obi-Wan Kenobi is what we're talking about today. The series Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan is
our only hope.
The well, he's one of the main characters of Star Wars. I mean, from the original Star Wars, he showed up in that one briefly. The actor did not like that kind of defined his career for a long time.
Yeah.
But then in the prequel trilogy, Ewan McGregor did a good job at he was the best part of the prequels. Everyone pretty much straight up agrees on that part. He played Obi-Wan very well.
I don't know, it's a toss-up between him and Watto.
Yeah, okay, so there's Watto. But so he's playing the same character here. So Obi-Wan Kenobi, and we'll do our best not to spoil it, but here's the thing. It's hard to spoil a series that takes place between the prequel trilogy and the original Star Wars trilogy, because guess what? Obi-Wan is still alive at the end. Darth Vader's in this series too, also still alive at the end. Princess Leia's in this series too, also still alive. You know that going in. And I'll tell you, for me, that actually makes me like a series slightly less because there's no stakes in it then.
I feel like you have to do it the right way. And very few videos and books and stuff do that. Like there's been a few, like I really liked
Lion King 1.5.
No, I never seen it.
I do like Lion King 1.5, by the way.
No, what was the Star Wars movie where they were getting the Death Star plans?
Rogue One.
Rogue One. I loved Rogue One.
But that's because
But they
you
were
didn't
separate
know what was going to
characters,
happen
that's
to any of those people. They were all new characters.
That's true.
They showed what? Darth Vader and Tarkin, but they were like background side. We're talking about main characters
Yeah,
here.
that's fair. Yeah, it's tough.
Same argument could be made in large part about the prequel trilogy itself. We already kind of knew where all the lines were going to end up. It's just how interesting is the journey, is the
I think
twist
it
of
was
the lines.
far enough in the past, too.
Yeah, especially as it got closer,
Like,
you knew.
they introduced Mace Windu. I'm like, oh, I don't know what happens to that guy.
Sure.
I don't know what happens to
most of those Jedi.
Well, I'm
most of the
going to
people.
go ahead and say this now, right? With Star Wars, you still don't know what happened to that guy.
That's true.
Samuel Jackson's going to
very
show up
true.
in costume at some point and be like, he's around.
Yes, because I thought, for example, Darth Maul died in Episode 1, and my daughter told me did not happen in the cartoons. So
yeah,
I was like, oh. I figured getting cut in half is pretty definitive, but it is not. So there's
Back
that.
to tanks. They do everything.
But okay, so we take that out of the equation. So this was a 6-episode series, and I was watching people's reactions online and things, and most people seem to think the last 2 episodes were better than the first 4. I'm
in that camp.
I think that's not wrong. I personally struggled with, not just it was a prequel, but the whole time I'm struggling with how all these events happen that seem to be forgotten in Episode 4. In Episode 6, they kind of went out of their way to point out why a few of them were that way.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes.
This is not a spoiler at all, but Obi-Wan says to Leia, who's a 10-year-old kid in this, by the way, he says, you know, if you ever want to contact me again or whatever, you know, don't let people know you know me and anything. But even if that's the case, I still think if she's on the cruiser, the Corvette, I'm sorry, and she's putting this thing, sending R2-D2 off to get Obi-Wan Kenobi, that she still wouldn't be like, well, I don't want people to know that I know him. She said, you're our only hope. Instead of saying you work for my father in Clone Wars, she'd been like,
I know you're awesome.
Yeah, well, that just happens when you retcon stuff.
I understand that, but I struggle with that.
I just accept that. For me, I just felt like it wasn't that interesting. Like, overall, I never was like, ooh, I can't wait to see the next episode. Like, and even as I was watching them, I was like, this is fine. Like, this is fine TV. I'm enjoying what's going on mostly. But I never felt like I was excited to see what happened. And I think part of it is what you said of like, I know how it's going to end eventually. But also the character motivations, I was really struggling with some of the character motivations. I was like, I don't even know why you're making the choices you're making. And when you try to explain it, your explanation is terrible. And then you keep doing the same thing you were doing before. I don't know. I was really struggling with that.
There was one major reveal character motivation that they did for one of the new characters in episode 5, and I thought that doesn't match episodes 1 through 4 for me.
And it didn't match
kind of the
episode
issue.
6 either.
Yes, you're right.
So I felt like it was just that one episode, and even then I was struggling seeing it and feeling it more than just words.
I struggled with that a little bit. I did like, there was one new character I liked, I can't remember the guy's name. The fake Jedi. That's not really a spoiler.
Max Rebo.
No, not Max Rebo. The fake Jedi.
Yeah,
I liked him. He was,
And I actually liked the Inquisitors as a group. I thought they were kind of cool. They show up in episode 1, and you're like, whoa, who are these? My daughter's like, oh, they're from the cartoons. And I was like, I don't know who they are, but they're cool. Less cool.
If you want a better, interesting story about the Inquisitors in general, play the Jedi Fallen Order video game.
which Chris is currently playing.
I am playing
that. That is what my daughter said. She says it's a great game.
It's so fun to be a Jedi in a video game because force powers. The problem is when a video game that you can play on the side has kind of better character motivation and story for like a big group of bad guys than your TV show does. This is the first time the Inquisitors have shown up in a live action, so to speak, mainstream Star Wars thing. If you haven't watched Rebels or Clone Wars or these cartoons, then like this is your first time seeing them, and they could have been done better.
All right, well, I don't know. There are some good things. I think Darth Vader is awesome.
Sure, absolutely.
His were my favorite parts.
Darth Vader is cool.
He does some awesome
They
force fielding.
briefly show Hayden Christensen.
Mm-hmm.
He's fine.
I liked that. It didn't feel like fan service in the traditional, like, hey, remember this? It was like a nice kind of, he got to come back and play the part. He got to actually play the part.
And you know who else came back? James Earl Jones. And he's awesome.
As a
the voice.
machine.
He's the voice of Darth Vader.
Have you heard about how they did that?
It's not really him?
They took his voice and they ran it through basically an AI system that they can now basically just make James Earl Jones' voice say anything they want. And they can make it sound more like he sounded in the original trilogy. They can kind of age him up and down. It's very strange.
The droids are taking over the world.
All right.
Yeah.
Well,
but I still love James Earl Jones' Darth Vader, so I sit on a weird line with that. I think that's cool. Also weird, but they did the thing with Tarkin in Rogue One. I don't know.
6 out of 10 for me. 6 out of 10. Where would you
Really?
give it? Yeah.
I'm putting it at a 5.
I really loved episode 5. I thought that was
5 is the best episode, I think.
storytelling wise. So that's the thing is like it picked up at that moment for me. It started fine. I honestly just wanted more hanging out with Obi-Wan in a cave on Tatooine. I'd have been fine if that was the whole series. It dipped so bad in the middle, and then it popped back up. So, averaging around a 6.
All right.
Ooh, Leia annoyed me too.
Oh yes, well, I struggle with kids who are smarter than an adult is for no reason at all.
And
it's
never
not like,
get scared, like ever.
well, she got scared a few times, but also
Not really.
the one scene, and that was in episode 5, but she was like, "Get me a ladder." I was like, "No, no kid says that." It just bugs me, but it is what it is. All right, let's keep moving.
Oh, hi. Sorry, I don't have enough to share. Anyway, my name is Aaron, and welcome to One Word, One Question. Today's word is snacks. And the question is, do you allow snacks or food at your game nights? So answer A, if you allow all sorts of things, you don't really have a preference. Either you don't care so much about the condition of your games, or you have them sleeved and well protected, or maybe you just have a bunch of napkins handy. Answer B, if you allow certain items. I know pretzels are popular because they're non-greasy and generally don't make a mess. And answer C, if you don't allow any food items whatsoever. As for myself, I'm in Group C. Admittedly, I am a bit of a stickler when it comes to my games, so I don't allow anything save water, and in that case, it has to be isolated so that it doesn't spill onto games, because I've had that happen. Yeah. Luckily, the cards were sleeved, so no harm was done, but I'd rather not have that sort of thing happen. Anyway, That's my answer. Let me know yours in the comments. I look forward to reading them, and I hope to see you again in another video. Take care. Bye.
Hi, I'm Jordan, and one of my favorite publishers that I've, has quietly been releasing really awesome games over the years is BoardGameTables.com. You'll see over my shoulder many of their games. And one game that's missing from there that I've been really enjoying recently is Kabuto Sumo. This is a straight dexterity game, and I would personally put it up there with some of my favorite dexterity games like Rhino Hero or Ice Cool, and this one feels different than those. It's not flicking, it's not stacking. This one is pushing. It's kind of a one of those coin pusher games like you see at an arcade where you're trying to shoot those quarters in and they're trying to knock each other off and you're trying to get a whole big stuff to fall off and get all these quarters. In this one you have a raised platform and you're pushing these discs on, and it's a beetle wrestling type thing. You're trying to push these discs on, you're trying to knock off each other's player pieces off of this wrestling platform. And you have some player powers that allow you to sometimes have these really funky wooden pieces that are, going to push off pieces in different ways. You might also be able to take some special actions like stacking pieces to make things a little heavier and harder to push. And it's a really cool take on this, of a dexterity game that feels unique to other ones. To me, there's a ton of flicking games, there's a ton of stacking games. A game like Flip Ships feels unique where you're actually flipping things up in the air and they fall. This one feels unique where you're kind of pushing and then things are kind of jostling to the side. It does create some randomness because you don't always know how it's going to go, but that's part of the fun, I think, with a silly game like that. So Kabuto Sumo, really cool one, and my whole family really enjoys it. I'm Jordan, thanks.
All right, that's it for another board game breakfast, folks. We got to get off here because Z is on in 9 minutes. And then Chris will be back at noon. And then I'll be back at 3. Lots of live stuff for you today. Until next time, though, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Wendy Yee.
I'm Chris Yee.
Have fun gaming. May the game be with you.
Thanks for watching Board Game Breakfast. Tune in each week for your daily dose of gaming goodness with Tom Vassell and all the gang. Until next time, I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching Board Game Breakfast, a Dice Tower production.